Thrawn's TIE Advanced program was a revolutionary initiative within the Imperial Navy, conceived to blend the precise strategy and foresight of Grand Admiral Thrawn with cutting-edge technology and unmatched piloting skills. Thrawn, known for his deeply analytical mind and unyielding determination to understand his enemy's culture and tactics, saw potential in advancing the Empire's TIE fighter designs far beyond the standard models. The TIE Advanced fighters were developed to address the growing weaknesses of traditional TIE designs and to give the Empire a strategic edge over the growing Rebel Alliance and other adversaries. Each detail of Thrawn's program was meticulously designed to produce starships capable of not only holding their own in space battles, but also overwhelming enemy forces with a mix of superior firepower, agility, and psychological impact. The standard TIE fighter, though emblematic of the Empire's reach and power, had limitations that were becoming more apparent with every conflict. Designed for mass production, the standard TIE was cost-effective and quick to produce, but it lacked both shields and hyperdrive capabilities, making it vulnerable in prolonged engagements. Its short range confined it to operations near Imperial bases or capital ships, and its lack of defensive capabilities meant that only the skill of the pilot determined its survivability. As the war against the rebellion dragged on, it became clear to Thrawn that the Empire needed a superior model that could outmatch the increasingly sophisticated and resilient Rebel starfighters, especially those like the X-Wing, which featured shields, hyperdrive, and considerable firepower. Thrawn's TIE Advanced program marked a significant shift in Imperial strategy. Rather than relying on sheer numbers to overwhelm the enemy, as was typical of Imperial doctrine, Thrawn aimed to create a line of fighters that embodied excellence in all aspects of design and functionality. The TIE Advanced was a product of this vision, enhanced with shields, a hyperdrive, and improved maneuverability that rivaled even the most agile Rebel fighters. For Thrawn, this wasn't just about having a superior machine, it was a statement of the Empire's technological and strategic prowess, a psychological blow to any who dared stand against it. The initial design phase of the TIE Advanced took into account numerous lessons from previous models and battles. Thrawn, understanding the Rebels' guerrilla tactics, pushed for a design that allowed his pilots greater independence and operational flexibility. The TIE Advanced's hyperdrive was a crucial addition, enabling it to operate far beyond the range of its predecessors and conduct independent missions without relying on capital ships for transportation. This capability also allowed Thrawn to deploy these fighters strategically across vast distances, surprising Rebel forces in unexpected locations and making it harder for them to predict the Empire's moves. In terms of weaponry, the TIE Advanced was equipped with powerful laser cannons that could deal substantial damage to enemy ships. However, Thrawn insisted on more than raw power. He recognized that precision was just as important as firepower, so the targeting systems were refined to a level of accuracy that allowed skilled pilots to exploit weaknesses in enemy formations and tactics. The TIE Advanced's weapon systems were calibrated to support the Empire's best pilots, enabling them to execute Thrawn's complex maneuvers and strategies with deadly efficiency. The addition of shields to the TIE Advanced was a game-changer. Up until this point, the Empire's reliance on unshielded TIE fighters had left its pilots vulnerable, forced to rely on their own skill to avoid incoming fire. With shields, the TIE Advanced could sustain more damage, allowing it to remain in battle longer and significantly improving pilot survivability. This feature not only boosted morale among Imperial pilots, who had previously felt expendable, but also allowed Thrawn to retain and cultivate talent within his ranks. His philosophy was simple, skilled pilots who survived battles would only become more formidable, and investing in their survival was an investment in the future strength of the Empire. The agility and speed of the TIE Advanced were also superior to most Rebel starfighters. Thrawn's engineers focused on creating a highly responsive flight system that allowed the TIE Advanced to execute sharp turns and quick evasive maneuvers. In close quarters dogfights, this agility became a deciding factor, enabling Imperial pilots to outmaneuver Rebel ships and secure kills with surgical precision. This advanced maneuverability also worked in tandem with the ship's enhanced targeting systems, allowing pilots to engage in highly complex combat maneuvers that would have been impossible in standard TIE fighters. The pilots chosen for the TIE Advanced program were handpicked by Thrawn himself, selected not only for their technical skill, but also for their ability to adapt to his unique approach to warfare. Thrawn valued pilots who could understand and execute complex strategies, who could read the battlefield as he did, anticipating enemy movements and exploiting them. To cultivate this skill, Thrawn implemented rigorous training programs, exposing his pilots to simulations based on real battles and rebel tactics he had analyzed. In these simulations, pilots were pushed to think strategically, to operate as a cohesive unit, and to trust Thrawn's vision of the battle, even if they didn't fully understand it themselves. The psychological impact of the TIE Advanced was not lost on Thrawn. He knew that the mere sight of these sleek, powerful fighters would strike fear into rebel pilots and soldiers alike. Unlike the swarming clouds of standard TIEs that could be expected in any major engagement, the TIE Advanced represented a far more personal threat. They were not mere numbers but elite fighters, symbols of the Empire's unrelenting power and the brilliance of Thrawn's strategic mind. Thrawn used this perception to his advantage, deploying the TIE Advanced in key battles where their presence would demoralize the enemy, showing that the Empire was not only overwhelming but also evolving and adapting. However, Thrawn's TIE Advanced program was not without challenges. The cost of producing these advanced fighters was significantly higher than that of standard TIEs, and there were those within the Empire's higher echelons who questioned the wisdom of such an investment. Some believed that the Empire's resources would be better spent building more capital ships or expanding existing TIE production lines, but Thrawn remained steadfast, arguing that a smaller, more advanced force under precise command could achieve victories that even the largest fleet could not. His confidence was not misplaced in battle after battle. The TIE Advanced proved itself as a force multiplier, achieving results that vindicated the additional expense. In terms of tactics, Thrawn's approach with the TIE Advanced was to incorporate them as a spearhead for his fleet formations. Instead of sending in waves of TIE fighters to soften the enemy, he used the TIE Advanced squadrons to break through and target strategic points within the enemy fleet. This tactic disrupted the flow of rebel maneuvers, as their forces were forced to adapt to the sudden appearance of a nimble, heavily armed opponent that could bypass traditional defenses and strike directly at command ships or other key targets. It was this focused, high-intensity approach that set the TIE Advanced apart, making it far more than just another starfighter in the Imperial arsenal. The TIE Advanced became an embodiment of Thrawn's philosophy of warfare, understanding the enemy's strengths and weaknesses, adapting to them, and then using the Empire's own strengths in ways the enemy couldn't predict. This mindset was evident in every detail of the TIE Advanced, from its hyperdrive and shields to its enhanced weapon systems and maneuverability. In Thrawn's hands, the TIE Advanced was not simply a ship but a tool of psychological warfare, a weapon designed to show the rebellion that the Empire was more than a faceless, lumbering giant. It was a force that could think, adapt, and strike with lethal precision. At the same time, Thrawn was cautious not to rely solely on the TIE Advanced. He knew that a single weapon, no matter how powerful, could not win the war. Instead, he saw it as a critical part of a broader strategy, a means to engage the enemy in new ways while forcing them to adjust their tactics. For every strength the TIE Advanced displayed, Thrawn had already considered how it could be countered, analyzing how rebel forces might attempt to neutralize its advantages and preparing strategies to counteract these moves. The TIE Advanced, in this regard, was not just a tool of war but a component of an ever-evolving game, a piece of Thrawn's larger, multifaceted approach to the galactic conflict. In the battles where it was deployed, the TIE Advanced not only achieved remarkable tactical victories but also shaped the way the rebels viewed the Empire. It became clear that under Thrawn's leadership, the Empire was not just a monolithic force but one capable of innovation, unpredictability, and deadly precision. Thrawn's TIE Advanced program continued to evolve, with refinements based on both real-world combat data and Thrawn's insights into rebel tactics. Each engagement was an opportunity to test the capabilities of the TIE Advanced and learn more about its effectiveness in various combat scenarios. Thrawn's strategic brilliance lay in his willingness to adapt. He was constantly refining the program based on battlefield feedback. This meant that the TIE Advanced was never a static design. Instead, it was a flexible tool that could be adjusted to meet the changing needs of the Imperial Navy and respond to the escalating threat posed by the Rebel Alliance. One of Thrawn's key insights was his understanding of the psychological impact of weaponry on the battlefield. He saw the TIE Advanced as not just a weapon but a means of psychological manipulation. By deploying these advanced fighters in targeted assaults, he intended to sow fear and confusion among the rebels. The rebellion relied heavily on morale and unity. They were motivated not by resources or wealth, but by their shared belief in a free galaxy. Thrawn understood that by creating a sense of hopelessness and inevitability, he could weaken the very foundation of the rebel cause. Every encounter with the TIE Advanced would be a reminder to the rebels of the Empire's adaptability and determination, a subtle message that their technological superiority was dwindling. This strategy extended to how Thrawn deployed his forces. The TIE Advanced was not used indiscriminately. Instead, Thrawn selected specific targets and battles where he believed the fighter's unique capabilities would have the most significant impact. These engagements were chosen for their strategic value, but they also had a symbolic purpose. Thrawn wanted the TIE Advanced to be seen as a harbinger of Imperial dominance, a reminder that resistance was futile. Rebel commanders quickly took notice, realizing that any appearance of the TIE Advanced was a sign that the Empire had deemed a particular front or battle worth intense focus and resources. The TIE Advanced also forced the rebels to rethink their strategies. Initially, the Rebel Alliance had developed tactics to exploit the weaknesses of standard TIE fighters, using the X-Wing's superior durability and versatility to gain an edge. However, the TIE Advanced introduced new variables into these battles, as it could not be outlasted or easily outmaneuvered. The addition of shields and hyperdrive meant that it could withstand sustained attacks, and its agility allowed it to keep up with even the most skilled Rebel pilots. This shift forced the rebels to invest in new tactics and technology to counter Thrawn's advancements, pulling resources away from other fronts. The hyperdrive capability of the TIE Advanced was perhaps one of its most disruptive innovations. With this addition, Thrawn's forces could conduct hit-and-run tactics, striking deep into Rebel territory and retreating before reinforcements could arrive. These surgical strikes inflicted heavy damage on Rebel assets, targeting supply lines, munitions depots, and key installations. The rebels, used to a stationary Imperial presence, now faced an enemy that could appear and disappear at will. This mobility made the TIE Advanced squads particularly effective at dismantling Rebel operations, as Thrawn would often deploy them to cripple Rebel bases just as they were reaching operational capacity. The impact of the TIE Advanced was not limited to space combat. The success of the program had ripple effects across the entire Imperial Navy. Other branches began to adopt Thrawn's strategic focus on quality over quantity, and soon new designs for other ships and vehicles were being developed with similar enhancements. The Empire, under Thrawn's influence, began investing more heavily in advanced technology and specialized units, moving away from its former dependence on sheer numbers. Thrawn's success with the TIE Advanced encouraged a wave of innovation, as the Empire recognized the value of producing high-quality, versatile tools of war, rather than relying solely on massive fleets and armies. Yet Thrawn understood that even the TIE Advanced had limitations. He knew that technology alone could not win a war. It required the right doctrine and leadership. To this end, he made it a priority to cultivate skilled pilots who could make the most of the TIE Advanced's capabilities. Each pilot in the program was rigorously trained, not just in flight skills but in strategic thinking. Thrawn wanted his pilots to understand the broader picture of each battle, to operate as a cohesive unit rather than as isolated fighters. This approach led to the formation of elite squadrons that became known for their discipline and effectiveness. The pilots were fiercely loyal to Thrawn, having experienced firsthand his respect for their lives and abilities. This loyalty only intensified their commitment to achieving victory for the Empire. Thrawn's training methods emphasized adaptability, mirroring his own approach to warfare. Pilots were taught to expect the unexpected and to think creatively under pressure. This meant that, unlike typical Imperial pilots who followed rigid protocols, Thrawn's TIE Advanced squadrons could adjust to sudden changes in the battlefield and exploit unforeseen weaknesses in the enemy's tactics. They were also trained to operate with minimal support, allowing them to conduct long-range missions independently. This autonomy made them highly versatile and allowed Thrawn to deploy them in unpredictable ways, keeping the rebels constantly off balance. The selection process for TIE Advanced pilots was stringent. Only those with an exceptional grasp of tactics and reflexes were accepted into the program. Once chosen, these pilots underwent intense training, designed to break down their reliance on conventional methods and immerse them in Thrawn's unique style of warfare. Thrawn himself often oversaw this training, demonstrating his commitment to cultivating an elite corps of fighters. He instilled in them a sense of pride and purpose, making it clear that they were not just cogs in the Imperial war machine, but individuals whose skill and judgment were valued. This approach fostered a level of dedication and morale that was rare in the Empire, where personnel were often viewed as expendable. Despite its strengths, the TIE Advanced program faced opposition within the Empire. There were those who resented Thrawn's influence and questioned the resources being allocated to his projects. They saw Thrawn's methods as overly complex and costly, preferring the simplicity and efficiency of the traditional Imperial doctrine. Some high-ranking officials argued that the Empire's strength lay in its ability to deploy overwhelming force, and they viewed Thrawn's focus on specialized units as a departure from this principle. However, Thrawn's successes on the battlefield eventually silenced most of his critics. His victories demonstrated that a strategic application of force could achieve results that brute strength alone could not, validating his approach to warfare. Thrawn's detractors also failed to understand the long-term benefits of the TIE Advanced program. By investing in advanced technology and skilled personnel, Thrawn was laying the groundwork for a more resilient and versatile Imperial Navy. His focus on quality over quantity meant that the Empire could adapt to new threats more effectively. This adaptability was crucial, as the Rebellion continued to develop new ships and weapons in response to the Empire's tactics. Thrawn's TIE Advanced program was not just about creating a powerful fighter, it was about preparing the Empire for a future in which it would need to respond to a wide range of challenges. Through his work on the TIE Advanced, Thrawn also established himself as a leader who valued innovation and talent. His pilots were fiercely loyal to him, not only because he respected their abilities, but also because he took the time to understand their individual strengths and weaknesses. Thrawn was known to personally review the performance of each pilot, offering feedback and guidance to help them improve. This attention to detail and personal investment in his subordinates set him apart from other Imperial officers, who often saw their troops as disposable. Thrawn's leadership style cultivated a sense of camaraderie and purpose within his ranks, making his TIE Advanced squadrons some of the most dedicated and effective units in the Empire. In battle, the TIE Advanced became a symbol of Imperial excellence. Its presence on the battlefield sent a clear message to the rebels: the Empire was no longer relying solely on overwhelming numbers, but was now fielding highly trained, elite units capable of precise, devastating attacks. This shift had a profound impact on the morale of rebel forces. The TIE Advanced was a constant reminder that the Empire was evolving, adapting, and always one step ahead. For rebel pilots, engaging a TIE Advanced was a daunting prospect, as they knew they were up against not only a superior machine but also a highly skilled and disciplined opponent. Each encounter with these elite fighters reinforced the notion that the Empire's power was not to be underestimated. Thrawn's TIE Advanced program was, in many ways, a testament to his vision for the Empire. He understood that the future of warfare would be determined not by sheer numbers, but by the ability to adapt and innovate. Through his work on the TIE Advanced, Thrawn was building a new model for the Imperial Navy, one that valued quality, skill, and strategic thinking over brute force. His approach was a departure from the traditional Imperial doctrine, but it proved effective time and time again, securing victories that might have been impossible with standard forces. The TIE Advanced was more than a starfighter, it was a symbol of the Empire's potential to evolve and dominate in ways its enemies had never anticipated. In the broader context of the war, the TIE Advanced demonstrated that the Empire was not content to rely on old methods. With Thrawn's influence, the Imperial Navy was transforming into a more agile and deadly force, capable of striking with precision and adapting to new challenges. Thrawn's TIE Advanced squadrons became legends among Imperial forces and a subject of dread for rebel pilots, a constant reminder that the Empire's power was both vast and sophisticated. Thrawn's commitment to excellence and his willingness to innovate had created a force that could match and surpass the best the Rebellion had to offer, ensuring that the Empire remained a dominant force in the galaxy. As Thrawn's TIE Advanced program continued to expand, its success on the battlefield attracted the attention of high-ranking Imperial officials, some of whom saw it as a template for future Imperial starfighter initiatives. Although the Empire had historically focused on overwhelming numbers, Thrawn's approach with the TIE Advanced was starting to shift that paradigm. The TIE Advanced program demonstrated that smaller, elite units with superior technology and training could yield results that mass-produced forces could not achieve, especially in engagements requiring precision and adaptability. Thrawn's influence began to ripple through the Imperial hierarchy, encouraging other commanders to consider the value of specialized units and advanced technology. However, Thrawn was keenly aware of the limitations of even the most advanced technology. He understood that the effectiveness of the TIE Advanced hinged on the quality of the pilots who flew them and the strategies employed during combat. For this reason, he was meticulous in maintaining the training and discipline standards for the TIE Advanced pilots, ensuring they could leverage every capability of their ships to maximum effect. Thrawn emphasized the importance of teamwork within his squadrons, recognizing that even the best pilot could only achieve so much without the support of a coordinated, cohesive unit. His TIE Advanced pilots operated in tight formations, executing complex maneuvers that required perfect synchronization and communication. Thrawn's approach to training extended beyond standard combat drills. He introduced his pilots to a range of unconventional scenarios based on his studies of various cultures and combat styles, including those of rebel and even non-human adversaries. Thrawn's knowledge of his enemies was unparalleled. He understood that the rebels drew from diverse backgrounds, with many of their pilots trained in unorthodox tactics and combat philosophies. By exposing his pilots to these tactics, he prepared them to adapt on the fly, a trait that proved invaluable in battle. The TIE Advanced pilots learned to recognize and counter specific maneuvers associated with different rebel squadrons, making them highly effective against any opponent. To ensure the sustainability of the TIE Advanced program, Thrawn also focused on logistical innovations. He was aware that the TIE Advanced, with its advanced systems and hyperdrive capabilities, required more resources to maintain than standard TIE fighters. Rather than relying on centralized repair facilities, Thrawn advocated for the creation of mobile support units that could provide maintenance and repairs closer to the front lines. This mobility allowed his TIE Advanced squadrons to remain in active duty for longer periods without the need to return to distant Imperial bases for refitting or repairs. Thrawn's logistical foresight ensured that his forces could maintain operational readiness, allowing him to deploy the TIE Advanced wherever they were most needed. Despite the program's successes, there were those within the Empire who questioned the long-term viability of Thrawn's approach. Some believed that the TIE Advanced was simply too expensive to produce on a large scale, arguing that the Empire would be better served by focusing on mass production rather than specialized, high-cost fighters. Thrawn, however, remained steadfast in his vision. He was not interested in quantity for its own sake. He understood that the quality of a small, elite force could often achieve what entire fleets of standard fighters could not. His doctrine was to create an adaptable, high-impact force that could act as a scalpel in the Empire's arsenal, rather than relying solely on the blunt force of traditional fleets. Thrawn's TIE Advanced squadrons soon became notorious among rebel forces. Their effectiveness and precision were legendary, and rebel pilots came to view them as the ultimate challenge in space combat. The psychological impact of facing TIE Advanced fighters was immense. Rebel forces knew that a battle involving Thrawn's elite squadrons was a sign that the Empire was investing significant resources in that engagement. This awareness weighed heavily on rebel morale, as they knew they were facing a level of skill and technology that went beyond the Empire's standard tactics. For rebel commanders, it was a constant struggle to find ways to counter these formidable fighters and prevent them from decimating their squadrons. Thrawn also understood the value of surprise and deception in combat. He often employed tactics that exploited the rebels' assumptions about Imperial strategy. Whereas standard Imperial doctrine relied on predictable tactics, Thrawn's approach was anything but. He would use the TIE Advanced to stage feints and diversionary attacks, luring rebel forces into traps or manipulating them into compromising positions. These psychological tactics were highly effective. Rebel forces would sometimes overcommit resources to defend against what they thought was a major assault, only to realize too late that they had been outmaneuvered. The deployment of the TIE Advanced also allowed Thrawn to engage in targeted elimination of high-value rebel assets. Recognizing that the rebellion's strength lay in its leadership and its symbolic figures, Thrawn would deploy his elite squadrons to pursue and neutralize key rebel commanders and pilots. The loss of these individuals had a profound effect on rebel morale and operational capabilities, as the rebellion often relied on the experience and charisma of its leaders to inspire its forces. Thrawn's strategy of targeted strikes weakened the rebellion's leadership structure, creating instability and disrupting their ability to mount coordinated attacks. The versatility of the TIE Advanced allowed Thrawn to experiment with combined arms tactics that integrated the fighters with other elements of the Imperial Navy. For instance, he would use the TIE Advanced to escort bomber wings in precision strikes against rebel installations, ensuring the bombers could reach their targets unscathed. In other scenarios, Thrawn coordinated his TIE Advanced squadrons with capital ships, using the fighters to disable enemy starships' critical systems before allowing the capital ships to move in for a decisive blow. These tactics demonstrated Thrawn's skill in orchestrating multi-dimensional strategies that leveraged each component of his forces to their fullest potential. The cumulative effect of these tactics was devastating for the rebellion. Thrawn's TIE Advanced squadrons not only inflicted heavy casualties, but also forced the rebels to divert resources away from their main objectives to counter these elite units. The rebels soon realized that they were not simply fighting a war of attrition. They were up against an adversary who could adapt, learn, and use their own strengths against them. Thrawn's strategic prowess turned each battle into a lesson for his forces and a trap for his enemies. The rebels found themselves constantly on the defensive, unable to anticipate where Thrawn's next strike would come from or how to counter his ever-evolving tactics. Yet, even with all these strengths, Thrawn understood that no single program or tactic could guarantee victory. His TIE Advanced program was a powerful tool, but he knew it had to be part of a larger, adaptive strategy. He continued to study rebel tactics and analyze the weaknesses of his own forces, seeking ways to improve and innovate. Thrawn's dedication to constant improvement became a hallmark of his leadership, ensuring that his forces remained at the cutting edge of Imperial military technology and strategy. The TIE Advanced program was just one component of his broader vision for the Empire, a vision that emphasized adaptability, intelligence, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. As the program reached its zenith, Thrawn's TIE Advanced squadrons had become symbols of Imperial might and strategic sophistication. They were the embodiment of Thrawn's belief that understanding one's enemy and adapting to new challenges were the keys to victory. In the eyes of the Imperial Navy, Thrawn's success with the TIE Advanced validated his unorthodox approach and demonstrated the potential of high-quality, specialized forces in modern warfare. His squadrons were feared and respected across the galaxy, a reminder that the Empire was not just a monolithic force, but a sophisticated and evolving military machine. Thrawn's TIE Advanced program left a lasting legacy within the Empire. It showed that advanced technology and well-trained personnel could accomplish feats that traditional methods could not, paving the way for future innovations in the Imperial Navy. Although the Empire's leadership would not always embrace Thrawn's methods, the effectiveness of his TIE Advanced squadrons served as proof of his strategic genius and his vision for a more adaptable, resilient empire. His program set a new standard for excellence in the Imperial Navy, one that would be remembered long after the end of the galactic conflict. Through the TIE Advanced program, Thrawn had not only altered the course of the war, but had also redefined what it meant to wield power in the galaxy.